Hey guys, so I've got the majority of my episode made already, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg is passed, so I wanted to speak about it a little bit before the episode gets started so we can talk about it in depth later. She supposedly left a note that she had dictated to one of her family members as her final wish that her spot not be filled until the next president. Now, she didn't specify whether that meant the president after Trump if he gets reelected, or if that just means the next elected president. She didn't specify. I guess like the rest of the deluded left, she thinks that there's no chance of a second President Trump term. But clearly that's the message. Mitch McConnell has made it apparent from the beginning, since a year ago, and then again a few months ago when RBG had announced that she had cancer again. He said he was going to fill the slot. It's a very strange time, an inopportune time, or an opportune time for her passing, because the Republicans in the Senate are going to try everything they can to get this nomination, this judicial nomination, through by President Trump. The Democrats are going to have a calling card. Resist, resist. This is not fair. Her position should not be filled by this president. There's a chance that we could have Kavanaugh times a billion. It depends a lot on who Trump nominates, which we'll just have to wait and see. I have a feeling it will be a female, but it could be a male. And this could be the time that they try to push into a judge that is inclined to vote against Roe v. Wade. In short, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one hell of a circus. This is just the first time we'll be talking about it, her passing. From this point on, it will be all of the things that go on in between now and then. I can't help but to feel like a good distraction for the Biden team. The focus is going to be on this judicial nomination for the rest of the presidential election. I would say probably the coverage for the judicial nomination would get more airtime than a debate at this point. But anyways, guys, we'll talk about it in depth as the time goes by. Mitch McConnell absolutely is going to move to fill the seat. Trump will make a nomination, so that'll be good fun. Anyways, on with the show. Howdy, folks. Welcome to the circus. And by God, is it a circus? It is a circus. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, I have before you here the Freak Show. We're going to cover some things about the CV. We're going to cover Dr. Redfield right here. Then we'll go look at a CNBC article about Pfizer's vaccine that's coming out. Then we're going to mosey on over to Nashville, and we're going to talk about Nashville's local political elite actively lying and subverting their citizens, which the actual video of that will be on my BitChute account, because once again, I'm nervous to put this kind of stuff on my channel because they've removed so many videos already regarding this topic. After that, we're going to talk about the Mueller team and how many times you have to put your passcode in to have your iPhone erased. And if your iPhone erases itself, how permanent is that? And doesn't the NSA collect everything on everyone? Where are the Mueller team texts? This is a question that we need to start asking. It needs to be echoed. And I'm sorry I'm constantly asking for things to be echoed. I'm sure it probably it comes off as whining. I'm really not whining. I just really want a lot of people to understand what's happening. And a lot of people don't. Anyways, let's go through this Robert Redford testimony. CDC director, right? Fauci bosom buddy. Let's listen.
These face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have. And I will continue to appeal for all Americans, all individuals in our country, to embrace these face coverings. I've said it, if we did it for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, we'd bring this pandemic under control.
First of all, the pandemic would already be over, as it is in countries that did not do the things that we did to, quote, slow the spread and flatten the curve. They have reached herd immunity. Recently, President Trump has Dr. Scott Atlas at the White House, and that's a good thing because Dr. Scott Atlas, I did a video on him a while back. I think it was like Dr. Scott Atlas rises from the ashes of academia to speak out for the children. And it was back when he was making the rounds saying it's perfectly fine for our children to go back to school. We need children to go back to school. He is now in the White House a lot, and that's a good thing. Although the corporate media is like, Dr. Scott Atlas, a radiologist. All right, he's a radiologist. He's not an immunologist, okay? But you have Dr. Ferrer, who has a degree in social justice that's making the health decisions for 10 million people in LA County. Like, get out of here. The news is insane. And I'm ranting. All right, let's back to it.
These actually, we have clear scientific evidence they work, and they are our best defense.
And by clear scientific evidence that they work, he means ambiguous, arguable, crappy data. It's like they have clear scientific evidence that climate change is killing us all. That kind of clear scientific evidence.
I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine, because the
And it was at that moment half of the country's head exploded. All right, so this is what's been in the news. This is the big outlandish thing that he said. The mask is more effective than the vax. And it's unbelievable the amount of ambiguity that they're trying to interject into this whole entire situation. This entire time, we've been told at first the masks didn't work, but then they were like, no, we were just lying to you because we wanted healthcare workers to have masks. They admitted that they outright lied to us. And now we believe them when they say that masks are actually beneficial. But it's just a Band-Aid until we can get to the vaccine. And then, well, Pfizer is saying they're going to release their vaccine results on their last large-scale human trial at the beginning of October. So we've been waiting for the vax this entire time, locked in our houses, stuck down in our little holes, waiting on this vaccine. And right as these vaccines are becoming available, because they're going to become available in the next 6 months, now they're saying, oh, well, you know, the vaccine's not even as effective as masks. Why? Why? Well, what reason could they possibly have for this other than to deny Trump a win before November? There's just no reason to interject this kind of ambiguity into this situation unless you're trying to cause intentional harm, otherwise known as subversion. Redfield, Fauci, Trump, and all the others have been saying, we're only doing this until we get the vax. And this has been a pain in the ass to most people. We didn't want to wait for a vax, but right as the time that the vaxes are going to start becoming available, well, you know, these masks, they're actually more effective because, you know, the vaccine's only going to work for like 70% of people. And the crazy thing is that, again, they're using, right, the truth to manipulate people because the vaccine's not going to be effective. It's Bizarro World, or Ed from the Outer Dark, he calls it Mirror World. It's very much Mirror World, the upside down, the this or that, the not milk, whatever you want to call it. It is literally, reality has no shape or form to it anymore. It's just like the Blob. It's just a bunch of bullshit. All right, back to Redfield.
Immunogenicity may be 70%. And if I don't get an immune response, the vaccine's not going to protect me. This face mask will. So I do want to keep asking the American public to take the responsibility, particularly the 18 to 25-year-olds, where we're seeing the outbreak in America continue to go like this, because...
Okay, the 18 to 25-year-olds, you don't really have to worry about them getting the CV. It's less lethal than the flu to those people. As a matter of fact, they need to get the CV so that we could get closer to herd immunity. But what you're trying to say is we need to slow them getting the disease. This is stupid and antithetical to any kind of herd immunity.
We haven't got the acceptance, the personal responsibility that we need for all Americans to embrace this face mask.
And guys, before we get into this, just know, we're on the same page with the CV, so don't jump in the comment section and be like, the whole thing's fake, the whole thing's a psyop, why are you even talking about the vaccine when da-da-da-da? Okay, I understand all of that. I get your all's position. What I'm trying to show you is the story that they're telling and why they're telling it. This entire time they've held us locked down as we waited for these vaccines, and then at the beginning of the month, Pfizer CEO confirms late-stage coronavirus vaccine trial may have results in October. The pharmaceutical company has already enrolled 23,000 volunteers in the Phase 3 trial that began in late July. It hopes to enroll at least 30,000 participants. We expect by the end of October we should have enough to say whether the product works or not. U.S. health officials have previously said results from late-stage vaccine trials could come in November or sooner. Pfizer's potential vaccine is one of 3 backed by the U.S. that's currently in late-stage testing. The U.S.-based pharmaceutical giant has been working alongside German drug maker BioNTech. The company's experimental vaccine contains genetic material called messenger RNA, or mRNA. In July, the company released promising data from its early-stage trial. The Phase 3 trial is expected to include up to 30,000 participants between the ages of 18 and 85, 120 sites globally, including 39 U.S. states, the company has said. If it is successful, they expect to submit it for final regulatory review as early as October. They plan to supply up to 100 million doses by the end of 2020 and approximately 1.3 billion doses by the end of 2021. Now, you guys know me. I'm not taking this thing. And the fact that it's a new type of vaccine is highly disturbing. And if you don't know about that, you can go running through my old videos or just Google it. The mRNA vaccine has never been tested on humans before. It's never been used on humans before. They are not using the actual virus SARS-CoV-2 to cause an immune response like they do in other vaccines, which is kind of funny because they've never satisfied Koch's postulate, so they haven't even actually isolated and proven that SARS-CoV-2 exists officially, so that's kind of hard to use it in a vaccine. But anyways, this vaccine, it doesn't do that. Like other vaccines, they take a little bit of the virus and they put it in there with something that's going to make your immune system go haywire, like some aluminum or thimerosal or something like that, and it causes an immune response, and then it matches the virus because the dead virus is right by the aluminum. That's not how this one works. This one, it's actually like they're altering the software of human DNA. That's what they said. They're going to alter our software. They're going to send in some code and change the way our RNA produces genes. They're going to make 1.3 billion genetically modified organisms. So I'm in no way saying that people should take this vax, but what I am saying is there is a huge population of the United States still locked in their house, only coming out whenever they have to get things that they need, and they're masked up and they're gloved up and they're terrified and they're living in their house and they're completely Bidened. These people have been waiting on this vaccine, and there is zero chance that the powers that be are going to let him get it before November without questioning it. And this is going to be, this testimony by Dr. Redfield, this is the beginning, because you're going to see more questioning of the vaccine before the election. And it's not going to be any kind of questioning that makes sense. You're going to see people who have long been vaccine defenders all of a sudden say, whoa, we should slow things down here. This is not good. You could probably already find examples of it. They don't want it before November. Anything before November, and it's going to be a problem. And so in order to mitigate that and not let Trump get a CV win, Dr. Redfield goes out on television and says, hey, look, these masks are more effective than any vaccine that's going to come out. Oh, really? Later, Trump talked to the press about it, and he said he called Dr. Redfield, and he said he thinks he may have answered that question incorrectly, or maybe he misunderstood them. And Trump said he only had 2 questions, and I think he misunderstood both. But this is the same old crap. It's production. I can see the production value, I think that regardless, this is huge testimony. This guy sitting there with his elbow on the table, holding up a paper mask, saying it's more effective than any vaccine that they're going to create. That's really good data for people to know. That helps our cause. People need to know that. These vaccines are not extraordinarily effective. A lot of people have to have the vaccine to save even one person from getting the disease. And that person that you save from getting the disease is not necessarily someone from the category that would have gotten seriously ill. You might just be preventing the spread to another 18-year-old. Dr. Redfield talking about how 18 to 25-year-olds need to have some personal responsibility and start wearing their masks, but their rate of infection has gone up, not any other age categories. So if these 18 to 25-year-olds were having these super spreading events because they're irresponsible non-mask wearers, I guess they don't ever talk to parents, aunts, uncles, friends, neighbors. They don't grocery shop or anything like that. It's just this spike we're seeing in between 18 to 25-year-olds. It's only because they're not wearing masks responsibly. Nothing to do with the fact that testing is being expanded out to younger categories for the first time in a lot of places, and that the elderly and the people inside the hospitals' rates of infection have remained steady. No. And besides, if the 18 to 25-year-olds aren't wearing their masks, it shouldn't be raising their rates of CV. It should be raising the rates of CV of all the people around them. It's all misinformation. It's bullshit. In July, the U.S. government announced it would pay Pfizer and BioNTech $1.95 billion to produce and deliver 100 million doses of their vaccine if it proves safe and effective. The deal was signed as part of Operation Warp Speed, the Trump administration's effort to accelerate development and production of vaccines and treatments to fight the CV. Okay, a lot of people are like, what? Trump's Operation Warp Speed? What? New World Order, we're all going to die. Understand that Trump's presidency has been a series of difficult positions that he's been put into intentionally. It's a Linsky tactic. It's to keep you on your heels. And this one was a huge one. Guys, if Trump came out tomorrow and was like, vaccines aren't effective. As a matter of fact, they can be harmful. There's a link between, that and this and da-da-da-da. Half the country would call for his arrest for treason. There's a certain segment of the population that if he came out and said, oh no, vaccines are just not it, and then didn't fund it, half the country would lose their ever-loving minds. He's in a difficult position where in order to be seen as an effective president to some of the population, he has to be seen to be pushing vaccines quickly. And the key is will he or will he not make it mandatory? I don't think there's ever going to be a mandatory vaccine. And I tell you, I've been listening to Attorney General Barr. And just the other day at the Heritage Foundation, he gave a speech and he said, outside of slavery, the CV lockdowns were the largest intrusion into American civilians' lives in the history of our country. He's pissed about this whole thing. I don't even think that the DOJ will support forcing anyone other than healthcare workers to get it. That's just my read of the guy's attitude. I keep Trump and Barr in separate categories because I see Barr as just another member of the deep state. But even judging off of just his attitude towards this situation, it's important to see where he's at. And it doesn't seem like he's pleased by it at all. As far as Trump goes, you know, people are allowed to think whatever they want. And if you want to think that Trump is involved with the NWO and he's trying to deliver this vaccine to us as quickly as possible because he wants us all to die, then you guys have that right, but I just honestly, I feel as though you're overlooking a lot of data points. Everything that they put out on the media is intended to discredit him, to hurt him. If you want to know a man, just look at who's attacking him. And I'm sorry, but when I see the people who attack Donald Trump, they're people I have hated my entire life. excluding Lindsey Graham, because I hate Lindsey Graham, but he's not attacking Donald Trump anymore. So yeah, vaccines are going to become available. They're going to have the results of their late stage trials in early October. So why not in the end of September have the CDC director come out and say, hey, wearing masks is more effective than taking the vax? It's bizarre. It's strange. Oh, man. Anyways, Nashville. Leaked emails show Nashville mayor's office concealed virus information from the public. Oh, yes, they did. Leaked emails show Nashville's Metro Health Department and the mayor's office attempted to withhold information from the public that strongly suggested CV wasn't spreading through the city's bars and restaurants. They're fabricating information, said City Council member Steve Glover. They've blown their entire credibility. I don't trust a thing they say going forward. Nothing. The emails between the mayor's office and the health department discuss how the low number of CV cases coming out of the city's bars and restaurants and how to keep that information from going public. Quote, this isn't going to be publicly released, right? Just info for the mayor's office, asked Leslie Waller, an official from the health department in one email. Correct, not for public consumption, the mayor's senior advisor, Benjamin Eagles, wrote back. Contact tracing. And they have contact tracing in late June showed that construction sites and nursing homes were seeing the worst virus spread in the Kentucky city, with more than 1,000 cases linked to each industry. Bars and restaurants, however, accounted for just 22 cases. Now, isn't it interesting? We know nursing homes is the number one spot for CV deaths in the entire country. Every state. But isn't it interesting here we see this insight that construction workers are the number two? Now, why would that be? Construction work, much of it is done outside. And we all know that, when the rioters are outside, CV doesn't spread. So how could they be so comparable to senior citizens? A month later, reporter Nate Rao asked the health department about rumors that only 80 virus cases originated from Nashville's bars and restaurants. Understand, we're talking about thousands of cases in this city, and only less than 80 came from bars and restaurants, and yet they shut them all down. Quote, the figure you gave of, quote, more than 80 does lead to a natural question. If there have been over 20,000 positive cases of CV in Davison and only 80 or so are traced to restaurants and bars, doesn't that mean that restaurants and bars aren't a very big problem? Emails show Health Department official Brian Todd asking how to respond to the question. Please advise how you recommend I respond, Todd asked in the email. We have certainly refused to give counts per bar because those numbers are low per site, one response said. We could still release the total, though, and then a response to the over the 80 could be because that number is increasing all the time and we don't want to say a specific number. Glover had a staff attorney reach out to the mayor's office in the health department to verify the authenticity of the emails. I was able to get verification from the mayor's office and the Department of Health that these emails are real, the attorney said. Glover said that he had been contacted by many restaurant owners, bartenders, and staff asking why the city was trying to keep a lid on the numbers. We raised taxes 34% and put hundreds, literally thousands of people out of work that are now worried about losing their homes, their apartments, and we did it on bogus data. That should be illegal. The mayor's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment from the Washington Examiner. Nor will they. They will ignore this, and it will go away. Because the media has a story to tell. I do so enjoy these small windows into investigative journalism and what journalism used to be in America when it was the Fourth Estate. It's reminiscent of when Ben Swan covered the PG thing. And when that gate really was going, Ben Swan covered it and, he learned his lesson. But it is so interesting to see that sometimes investigative journalism leaks out. The reason why I say that is because, you guys, every mayor's office, health department office that are in these blue areas, like Nashville, heavily blue, like Dr. Ferrer in the episode yesterday in LA County, heavily blue, they're all hiding, distorting, and manufacturing numbers. All of them. And it's only a matter of filing the proper FOIA requests for the proper people to find them all having these kinds of conversations. How do we deceive the public into being scared so that things remain closed? And if you don't think that that's what they were doing, well, then explain this set of email chains. Do you understand how insidious this is? This lifting of the curtain to read these people exchanging emails. How do I answer this question without letting them know the truth? The truth which would allow thousands of people to go back to work and have their lives restored. We must prevent that. How do I answer this question deceitfully so that we can prevent that from happening? This, again, is exactly what subversion looks like. When you read subvertive emails, they read like this. How do I answer this question? How should I answer this question in the best way for Mother Russia? Right? When he says, how do I answer this question? What is he saying? He's saying, how do I lie to this person without being held accountable? What can I do? The funny thing is that he doesn't even have to articulate that's what he means, because everybody on the email chain knows exactly what he means by how do I answer this. And it's disgusting. It's vomitous. These people make me sick. They have forced our country to remain closed and hidden, obfuscated. They have killed tens of thousands of old folks in the states where they decided to move CV patients into there. And it still accounts for the vast majority of CV deaths. You take nursing homes in blue states out of that number, and people in this country would be shocked. But they're not going to do that. They're going to do the CV numbers the same way they're going to do the votes. They'll just keep pumping them up in the blue states. Michigan pumping it up. New York pumping it up. California pumping it up. Washington State, Oregon. It doesn't matter. People aren't looking at, okay, well, let's see how many people died in each state and let's hold the governors accountable. No, they're not doing that. Now, why wouldn't people be doing that? Well, the media didn't tell them to. Well, why wouldn't the media tell them to? In the tip report, they make no option of Trump winning the popular vote. None. In all of the scenarios they game out, they do not game out a scenario where Trump wins the popular vote. Why? Because they are sure he has no chance of winning the popular vote. Because they have a plan, pump up the numbers of votes in those same states that are pumping up the CV numbers, and nobody in the fourth estate is willing to parse out these numbers and show the country where the deaths are happening, how the deaths are happening, who's dying, and why. And here you have the Nashville Health Department and the mayor's office caught actively subverting their citizens, lying to them. The mayor's office is just going to not respond. And this story is just going to go away. And while in the month of September, we're going through all of these various things related to the CV and the election and all the craziness, you find out, well, Mueller team erased their iPhones. Now, wait a minute, but hold on a second. Much of the Mueller team was involved in the investigation into Hillary Clinton. So there's no way that they didn't know that they weren't supposed to do that, right? I mean, right? Senator Ron Johnson, the chair of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, is asking the Justice Department Inspector General to investigate new documents that indicate members of the former special counsel Robert Mueller's team erased some records from their official phones. These reports are troubling and raise concern that record retention and transparency, Johnson wrote in a letter to the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz. Therefore, I respectfully request that your office open an investigation into this matter to determine what, why, and how information was wiped, whether any wrongdoing occurred, and who these devices belonged to. The letter comes after documents released by the Department of Justice this week say information was scrubbed from at least 15 phones. The records cited forgotten passwords, physical damage to the phones, and hardware issues to explain the erasures. Now, we'll look into that in a second. Besides requesting that Horowitz open an investigation into the documents, Johnson is also asking for answers to a number of questions, including when the DOJ was made aware of the issue and if the Inspector General has the ability to retrieve the information from the phones. He's asking for answers to his questions by September 18th. Johnson is also winding down a related probe into the FBI investigation into Trump campaign's contact with Russia in 2016, an inquiry that ultimately transformed into Mueller's probe. Senator Chuck Grassley, chair of the Senate Finance Committee, has also sent a letter to the FBI and DOJ asking about the wiped phones. So what did they do? Well, there's a setting in an iPhone. Everybody has a PIN. But you can set your iPhone that if there are so many incorrect entries into the PIN that it erases the phone and the iCloud. It burns the whole phone, the whole account. Now, isn't that extra special? Yeah, so here's that rascally setting right here. And notice you have to actively select it. You have to turn it on. And then after you turn it on, you have to enter the passcode incorrectly 10 times. That's not all, folks. Here's how long your iPhone is disabled based on the number of incorrect passcode entries. After the 6th time, you have to wait a minute. After the 7th, you have to wait 5 minutes. After the 8th, you have to wait 15 minutes. After the 9th, you have to wait an hour. And after the 10th, you have to connect it to iTunes. And after the 10th, if you have it set to erase, it burns the whole account. So you understand, you can't, I was in a hurry and I was pissed off, and so I put in my PIN incorrectly 10 times. No, it makes you take a 1 minute break, a 5 minute break, a 15-minute break, and an hour-long break before you completely erase the phone. It has to be done with intent. You understand what I'm trying to say? In order to go through this process right here without contacting iTunes for support, if you're the legitimate owner of the phone and you forgot your PIN, this is intent. If this is what they did, and this is reportedly what they did, this shows intent to deceive. You know, and then you wonder, well, Bill Benny says that we don't use thin thread, we use all these massive Vault 7 data collection, situations. Well, if that's true, then can you please dial up these text messages? Because when everybody who was on Mueller's team incorrectly inputs their iPhone passcode 10 times, being forced to take hours of a break in between each passcode setting, don't we think we should try to get these text messages? I don't know, just spitballing. Oh, man. I actually have another episode sitting on the back burner about Tip, and I'm making another episode today because these people are crazy. They have got me on such a rip. I mean, you have Dr. Redfield crapping on vaccines, which I've been crapping on for years, and I don't really care that you're crapping on vaccines, except you're doing it intentionally now to mess with the brains of the people who are waiting on these vaccines. Well, now masks are just as effective, guys. All to prevent a win in November. It is amazing. If I hadn't have been covering all this stuff since the beginning of it, I would say it was unbelievable. But it's believable because I have been, and you guys have been riding with me. Thanks for liking and sharing and getting my channel out there, guys. I appreciate it. I am throttled in every way possible, and I have been removed from Facebook. So we covered a lot today. I got a lot more coming too. It's just a matter of time. But continue to like, share, sub the channel. As always, if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, the links are shared below in the pinned comment. Pray for our country, you guys. Speaking of praying for our country, I think we might be doing some videos on Vatican soon. We've talked about Archbishop Vigano a couple of times, but we haven't gotten into McCarrick and the two popes and the China deal and various other things that Vatican II, etc., etc. It's an entire thing, but current events have been so distracting it's been hard to get down that road. But that's the direction I'm thinking. We'll see, as events do allow. Until next time, guys. Peace.